This is an MS Views and News interview with Marti Hines.
Hi.
She's an MS advocate, filmmaker, and on YouTube and Instagram shares her MS journey with over 10,000 people. Her channel is Marti's MS Life. And today we're going to see what's going on with Marti's MS life with COVID and MS and trigeminal neuralgia? Yeah, we're going to see what's going on with all that right now. So when did you get diagnosed? Like, how did this go?
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Like, wow, I wish that was not tea. But I got diagnosed in August of 2018. So
this is new.
Still pretty on the new side of things, but it was really dramatic, a lot of drama. I've heard so much about other folks with MS who really felt relieved when they got diagnosed, and they couldn't get answers, or doctors weren't believing them, and it's this long road that they went through before getting their diagnosis. But for me, I had thought I was perfectly healthy. I had never been in the hospital before. I didn't have any symptoms of anything, and woke up on a family vacation paralyzed on the left side of my body. So it was just a really traumatic kind of what is happening moment. I mean, first the thought was I had had a stroke, but cognitively, everything was fine. So they're like, okay, we don't think that's it. Let's go for an MRI. We'll, see what we can find there. And
I love how an MS diagnosis is like a game of guess who, like the mystery game. Like, is it this? Oh, okay, no, it's not that. Oh, is it this? Oh no, she didn't have a stroke.
Right. So,
even
to this point, they say that like your diagnosis is most likely MS. And, it's not that firm, because there's no MS test. It's ruling out everything else to then kind of come to that conclusion. So, which really adds to the denial and mind game.
The mind game, the denial, the drama, the fear. Like, wait, if it's not this and it's not that, is that
sure it's that? Or, so just all of that. But that's kind of how I found out that I had MS. So it was a very, really just shook up my whole world, because I, again, had not ever been sick before. So I was angry. I was in denial. I refused any sort of treatment for almost the first maybe 6 to 8 months, because I refused to believe that, something was actually wrong with me, and that was just like a fluke, and I was stressed from work, so it was definitely a longer road for me in terms of acceptance, which I think we're all still on that road. Honestly.
Look, it's funny because as soon as I read my MRI printout, I was like, great, okay, cool. Just to know what was going on with me. And it's a common story that folk with MS have and share: the denial, I know that the scientists say this, and if they would have said something else, I would have said, oh, okay, cool. But since it's this, it can't be that. It has to be something else.
It has to be something else.
That's kind of part of it, and accepting it and getting on the DMTs, because they're strong medicines, man.
Right.
So you don't exactly want to just hop into that boat if you don't have to.
I mean, they give you this list of side effects with these DMTs, and then also the little conversation they have with like, we don't even know to the extent of how much this might mess you up. So you have to make sure, that you're going to sign this release just in case 5 years from now we find out that we gave you breast cancer or whatever it is. I was just like, I'm not going to, in my mind, put this into my body.
Got it.
It's just a very toxic relationship.
Indeed. So were you a filmmaker before, or were you just living and being like, all right, the only way that I can speak about this is on these devices, let's go?
Right. No, I was a filmmaker before. My first feature came out on Amazon in 2016.
Hey, go ahead.
I had just shot my second film in the summer of 2018, and it's crazy because there's some photos, some behind the scenes photos of me sleeping all the time. And, it's like the joke was that I was so tired and that, Marti could sleep anywhere, and I just thought that it was, so as much as I thought that I didn't have any MS symptoms, hindsight's 2020, there were definitely things that, were happening to my body that weren't normal. I was just thinking I was stressed from being on set. But literally it was the running joke that I could just like fall asleep wherever, or that I was always asleep. And that was just in June of 2018. And I got diagnosed in August. So it's pretty crazy. So it was really organic for me to start my YouTube as an outlet, because film, has already always been a passion. So it was a kind of an easy move.
So now you're living that life, and I know what it means to be on a set and needing to execute, but then having your symptoms just not be a thing that's going to allow you to execute at this point. And you either still make the way, but we're not going to get into that. Right. What I'm saying right now is that's a whole nother thing. But you have this diagnosis now, and you're still trying to live your life and do your thing. And then COVID comes out a year later. And so now you have telehealth appointments, or you had to stop your DMT and then restart it. Like, how did this whole thing go?
Right. I mean, just like, so many folks with MS, COVID was just terrifying when you find out the effects that it has on these compromised people, which, is us. And so, and then also there's just no answers. You're talking to your doctors and they don't really know. They're just like, stay inside and, we'll holler at you when we think you can come and start your DMT. But then the flip side is the sooner you take that DMT, you're wiping out your immune system. Correct. So you're actually getting more sick on the MS side of things, but maybe stronger in the terms of fighting COVID if you were to get it, versus if you get a DMT, then your MS is under control, but now you're more vulnerable to COVID.
It's funny how much of medicine is like, here's the this problem, here's the solution. Here's the problem, here's the solution. Right. Also, so much of medicine is like, here's this problem. Take this, take that, and try to not hurt so much. I don't know what to tell you. Here's some antidepressants, so you're not
exactly. Let's throw that in
about how much you hurting.
It's true though. I mean, I had never, again, I had not really been that sick. So for me, doctors in my mind always just had the answer. You're sick. Right. They give you something, you're better, and that's it. So to be in this world of, I'm sorry that you're in pain. Here's something to maybe help manage it, but it's never going to go away. I was floored that there's this whole community of people that go through this every day. All day. There just is no, all we're doing is managing our symptoms until there's a cure. It's just trying to kind of keep us at a baseline, which I was like, what's that? I think there's those memes where it's like, what's your pain? And then someone says, the normal amount. And it's like, that's not there. You're not supposed to be in pain.
Not at all. The normal amount of pain is no pain.
No pain. I find myself being like, it's not bad today. I'm like a 5. Right. Like this is a good day.
So you have now, you have all these strange symptoms, this strange health stuff. Now it's MS. Okay, fine. At least I know what's going on with me, one foot in front of the other. And then you started getting more multisyllabic MS-based things like trigeminal neuralgia, which means that your face hurts.
What? I'm like, what's happening to me? Like, it's called, doctors call it the suicide disease because the pain is that excruciating.
Cool.
Got it. It's like, but it's interesting though how the mind works, because when I first started having TN symptoms, it felt like I was being kind of like stabbed in my face. Is what this pain felt like. And I was losing it. I was just, I thought I was dying. I was kind of just panicking and, and then once I got the diagnosis, it just shows how strong we are mentally. It just became easier for me to manage. It was like once I knew what was going on, it was kind of like what you said about when you got your MRI report. Once I had like an answer, that kind of checked me, from kind of like escalating into this,
the spiral.
Right. It definitely really, once I like could Google and see like, okay, this is what's happening to you and this is what it means. It, at least the way my brain works, it really helped. But I mean, MS threw me into the fire. I hadn't even had MS. I barely had it for a year before all of these other things popped up.
So other things like
something called, another tongue twister, osteomyelitis.
Bless you.
What? She's like, what are these words? What are these words?
It's osteoporosis of the gums. Hello.
Like, so what was on the table that I was going to have to get my jaw replaced was what going to happen, like a plate. And because I couldn't open my mouth from pain, so I'm like drooling, trying to eat, opening my mouth even like a little bit would cause this excruciating pain and this disease that kind of gets into your gums was from the TN. So it's crazy just how our body, everything's connected, things you don't think about, every single part of our body is connected to the other. And so when one starts to break down or shut down or be in, duress, it just turns into like a domino effect.
So you got diagnosed with MS. Then you got diagnosed, because of the MS, you got some trigeminal neuralgia.
All right.
Okay. And then on top of that, you got
osteomyelitis.
Osteomyelitis. And so now you just have like this, essentially this pain sandwich, essentially.
Literally a pain
in your face.
In my face.
And the rest of your body and such. And so,
and then all your other MS symptoms that, we all deal with.
So how have you been making your way as a filmmaker? Like, and plus COVID, like what's going on in your life now? The name of this program is MS Views Now. And because we got a little bit of your MS views, but what's going on right now?
Right. To be honest, right now, I've definitely, I feel like gotten to the other side of the fire. I'm not quite at my baseline yet, but in a much more stable place than I was in the throes of the pandemic. I mean, I know we're still in the throes of the pandemic, but the early days of the pandemic was just brutal, one, because of the isolation, on top of, the pain. So depression was heavy, and, the lows were just so low, but thankfully, again, thank God I'm a Christian. So it is by his grace that things worked out, that I didn't need to get a jaw replacement. The medicine that I was on for the osteomyelitis, a couple of oral surgeries, were able to kind of like stop the disease from progressing. So I was able to get past that. TN, had a quick brain surgery, no big deal, did a nerve block, and now my face pain stays at about a 4 unless it's, kind of triggered. And that was what was told to me was the ideal goal. So I knew going into surgery and nerve block that my best chance, my best hope.
I'm sorry, you're a lady, but I'm like, sir. you
Right. But isn't that crazy that that's what you're given is your best chance, and that's what and also that in another 10 years or so, I would probably need to have another one.
So how does COVID play into all of this? It's messing with your appointments. It's it's messing with your ability to even get the surgeries. What is?
These are considered elective. None of this is life-threatening.
I'm gonna have to do this again, sir. What?
Elective.
Wow.
These are not. So every time COVID, I think right now in LA, elective surgeries are on pause. Those types of every procedure that I received, is something that is considered elective. So that plays into having to hold that pain for so much longer, not being able to really get the care that you need. Telehealth, I feel like I was fine with it when, you're just kind of checking in with your doctor. Maybe you just need like a refill on your prescriptions.
Sure.
But when you really want to dive into and talk about your symptoms, or do just even the walking test, to find out just how things are either progressing or stabilizing. There's definitely a loss, I feel like, in care. I mean, I'd love to hear what you think about that over this time, as grateful as I am for telehealth, because I know for some folks, we live in LA, so Cedar Sinai is right there.
Right there.
All the big, but I know, some other people that are in Iowa that drive 4 hours, or, so telehealth was such a blessing for them. But
Right.
I feel like it's definitely lacking to me. But
wow. Yeah, no, the presence, the present, being in a room with someone, there's nothing that can replace that.
yeah.
And I guess because I live on cameras all day, I don't really have any problem with sort of putting my chin down, looking into the camera,
Yeah.
and having someone speak to me and relay the knowledge to me, and know that the only reason we're not in the same room is because there's a novel virus going around.
Right.
And as someone who is African American, one risk factor, who has a chronic condition, another risk factor. I have 2 out of the 4 risk factors for extreme COVID, the other 2 being age and weight. So I'm not a heavy guy like that, and I'm 40. So cool. But also these other 2, yeah, for extreme COVID. So I'm not trying to mess with that at all or get anywhere near that, because I have a 50% chance of having extreme COVID.
Right.
And all of this, the telehealth evolution, I think is remarkable. And it makes a giant nerd like me happy that it's even possible.
Yeah.
But yes, there is certainly something removed.
But overall, it's definitely, I've seen it help so many people. Like I said,
how? Why? What do you mean?
They can't get, again, the example I gave of us.
Right.
It's not a big deal for us to get across the street, to Cedar Sinai, or, but for some of these others that are in these rural areas, or, in smaller cities, they now have like the access. So I do think that that's just phenomenal. And I hope that it stays. I hope that we continue to allow telehealth, and that this doesn't go away.
So now that you have figured out what's going on with all of the why you're sleeping at work, frankly,
right?
And once you got that sorted, then it's like, wait, someone's stabbing me in my face, and they're like, oh, okay, let's get the surgery for that.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's like now your jaw is one good option is replacing your jaw.
That's what's on the table.
With a plate, like you're a James Bond villain. So essentially, multiple sclerosis has fired off these other 2 things that are unimaginable, but they're still in the backpack of, this is what I deal with. This is part of my MS journey. And now there's COVID on there. So because of that, the whole, like, this is what I do now. This is what it is now.
Yeah.
You embody that for so many different people, and whatever you do to get around that and go through that helps at least 10,000 people on your Instagram, at least a couple thousand people on your
They help me. I mean, I think you feel the same. Like, this community, this MS community that is on social media has just been so much more. I've gotten so much more from it, that I know that, because I was terrified. I was chatting with you, like, you were one of the first folks that I found, and to see someone that like looked like me, that kind of seemed like they had it down, and and like weren't the spiral that I was going through. And so I can't imagine folks that have came into this disease 20 years ago or 15 years ago that didn't have this community and this kind of sounding board just to vent, just to be able to be like, I feel like crap today, and know that like someone gets it. People like hear you and really understand, because as much as your family and friends want to be there, it's not possible.
You can't swim in these waters, and I'm glad that you can.
And I'm glad that you can. So our community is what, carries me through for sure.
Where can people find you? Because I'm gonna get out this show right now. Where can people find you in your MS life and your Trigeminal Neuralgia? I don't know what it is.
All the words.
Where can people find Marti Hines on the net, please?
Yes. So I am on Instagram. It's Marti's MS Life, as well as I have a YouTube channel also called Marti's MS Life. And so you can DM me, message me. I would love to chat. I'm always there.
That's really the most important thing. And that's really kind of what this program is part of, the community. And one of the things that is the blessing of having MS is the community, or excuse me, the blessing of having MS these days is the community, because we have Zooms, we have social media, and there are people out there who might not have the same symptoms, but know a little bit about what you're going through. And maybe they're going through something bigger than you. And you're like, oh, okay, I will take my small bag of pain right now and I will just deal with it.
It helps. It just puts it into perspective for you. When you're feeling, at least when I'm feeling super low, then I'll see someone else in our community or in our world or what they're going through. And I'm just like, oh, okay, let me
get it together.
Let me get up and,
And once more into the breach, dear friends, once more.
Literally. Man.
Thank you for sharing a little bit of your story in your MS life with the folks here on MS Views Now. And thank you guys for tuning in and watching. And we will see you on another MS Views Now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.